Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to be wrapping up the year with another video on my favorite shows and movies, but this time it's going to be for the entire year. So earlier this year, I had been doing a video every single month telling you the best shows and movies from that month. Well, after a few months, I kind of fell off from doing those videos. So instead of coming on today and just doing a video on December, I thought I might as well just give you the best 5 shows and 5 movies that I watched from the entire year. I won't be including any shows that I mentioned in any of my previous videos from earlier months in the year, so you can check those out if you want some more recommendations. But for this video, I'm going to try to give you the best shows and movies that I watched from this year that I haven't already mentioned. So if you're looking for any shows to binge watch or you want a good movie for movie night, hopefully these will give you some good recommendations. So the first show that I loved from this year that was actually on Crave or HBO, I think they're the same, was Sex Lives of College Girls. So this is actually a pretty new show. It just came out I think a month ago, and it was created by Mindy Kaling, and anything that's created by Mindy Kaling is good. So I just knew it was gonna be good, and I am obsessed. I finished the whole season pretty quickly, and I'm just waiting for the next season. Basically, it follows 3 girls who are rooming together in a dorm at university, and it centers around their friendship as well as them just being university students or college students, whatever you want to call it, and them going through college and relationships and boys and girls and all sorts of stuff. There's all kinds of things that happen within this show that you would typically expect to happen when you go to college. So it's a really, really good drama mixed with a little bit of humor. It's a good coming of age show, so I really like it, and it's pretty entertaining, and it also has that romance aspect, which I really appreciate. So if you're into that, then you'll really like this show, and it's such a binge-worthy show. You can watch it literally in one day. The next show that I really enjoyed from this year was Made, and this one was on Netflix if you haven't heard of it yet. It follows this young woman who is a mom of a young girl, and it goes through her life of trying to make a living for herself and for her daughter while she tries to escape an abusive relationship with the daughter's father, and to do so she becomes a maid, and it just follows her entire journey of her life, going from somebody who becomes strong enough to try and step away from that relationship that is abusive and is toxic, to struggling and trying to find her way to make money and provide a good life for her daughter. So it's a really good, touching and emotional show. It can be heavy at times, so if you're not into that, then I wouldn't say this is the show for you. But if you like a drama with a lot of meaning and thinking behind it, then this is an amazing show, and is another one that you can binge watch so fast, and it just flies by, and the ending is really satisfying. The next show is Only Murders in the Building, and I'm actually surprised that most people haven't heard of this show because I've mentioned this to some of my friends and they've never even heard of it. So this one is actually on Disney Plus, and it is Selena Gomez's new show. I shouldn't say it's her show. It's really Steve Martin and Martin Short's new show with Selena Gomez in it as well. And it follows the 3 of them as the lead characters. They're all very, very different. And essentially what happens is, as you can tell by the name, there's a murder in their apartment building, and they come together, the 3 of them, to start this podcast to try to figure out who committed the murder. So it's really interesting. It's a murder mystery, but also Steve Martin and Martin Short are in it, so you know there's going to be comedy. So it's a mix of that mystery component throughout the show with humor. And at the end, there's a really big twist, and the show leaves you on a cliffhanger, so it gets you really excited for season 2, which I'm pretty sure they're already filming now. So you're going to want to catch up on season 1 now so that you're ready for next year when season 2 comes out. Another great show that I saw this year that came out pretty recently is called Harlem, and I love it. It's on Prime, and usually I don't find as good shows on Prime as I do some of the other streaming platforms. Prime is more my go-to movie place, but this one just hits the spot. It's another coming of age show, except it's a little bit older than the Sex Lives of College Girls one, because obviously those girls are in college times. This is way past that. These are grown women, and it follows their journey as friends, but also navigating their relationships, and specifically this one woman in the show. It is centered around her relationship with somebody that she had been with for years prior when she was younger, and they'd broken up, and they recently ran into each other, and he's now engaged to get married married to somebody else. And so it follows all the drama that goes along with that, as well as all the other girls have their own storylines that are going on at the same time. So it has a good balance of romance and drama, and it has multiple storylines, so it really keeps you entertained and kind of on the edge of your seat the entire series. And then the last show that I want to mention is Invasion, and this one is on Apple TV, and the title makes it pretty self-explanatory. It's about an invasion of something, without ruining the show too much, that is coming to Earth, and it follows different people from different parts of the world and how they are navigating this invasion. So it's really interesting. It's definitely a paranormal thriller type show, which is a little different than some of the other shows I've mentioned. So if you're more into that action thriller, something creepy happening every episode, then this show you will love for sure. Okay, so that's it for the best shows that I saw from this year. Now I'm going to be moving on to the best movies that I saw this year. So to start off, I have to mention Cruella, and this is on Disney Plus. It is what most people would say a kids movie, but I think it's a really, really good twist on the classic story of the 101 Dalmatians, because obviously we know the story from that perspective, but we never really knew why Cruella was the way she is and how she became who she is. So I thought it was a really, really interesting movie. It's kind of exploring her background of her as a kid all the way to an adult, and I'm pretty sure a second one is going to come out. I thought it was one of the best Disney movies I've seen in a long time. So if you're into Disney movies and you know the story of the 101 Dalmatians, I definitely think this is one worth checking out. The next movie is The Broken Hearts Gallery, and this one you can find on Crave. I'm pretty sure it came out this year. I know it came out at the end of last year in theaters, so I think they just put it on Crave this year. Such a good movie. It's a good rom-com. It follows this girl who goes through this really bad breakup, and she creates this gallery where people can go and share things from their experiences going through a broken heart. So if you're going through a breakup right now or you have a broken heart, I found it was a pretty uplifting movie in that sense. But then there's also, of course, the romance aspect. She does meet somebody, and it's just a really cute movie, so I definitely wanted to include it on the list. So if you haven't heard of it and you like rom-coms, make sure to check this one out. Another movie that I really loved from this year was Green Book, and it's on Netflix. This is a critically acclaimed movie. I'm pretty sure that it won Oscars last year or maybe 2 years ago, but I think they just put it on Netflix this year. At least I only saw it on Netflix this year. And it is a bit of a slower movie, so it's a talking movie. It's not a lot of action, so if you're looking for action, this is not the movie. But if you're looking for something that is more emotional and thought-provoking, then this is definitely the movie for you. It follows this Italian guy who gets hired to be a chauffeur for this black guy who is a really, really popular jazz artist, and he's touring the Deep South, and it's during a time period where people in the South are still very racist and demeaning towards black people, and the storyline explores all the things he has to go through as a black man being in the South and why he wanted to go to the South in the first place when he knows that he's probably not going to be treated right while he's there. So I found that a really interesting concept, and it's actually based on a true story. So if you're looking for something that's a little heavier and a little bit more ingrained with history and how the world used to be just a few decades ago, then this is a really, really good movie for you to check out. The next movie is A Quiet Place Part 2, and this was on Prime. If you haven't checked it out already, it's the Part 2 to Part 1, obviously. It's about a world where there are these monsters, I guess you can call them, or aliens, I don't really know what to call them, and they basically kill everything in sight, but they can only track you down based on sound because they can't see, so you have to be very quiet, hence the name of the movie, A Quiet Place. So it follows the journey of the family that we watched in Part 1 and where they are now in Part 2. So if you're interested in a thriller and you haven't checked this one out already, make sure to check out Part 2 if you have already seen Part 1. But if you haven't seen Part 1, you're going to want to watch both. It's such a good thriller action movie. I cannot wait for Part 3 to come out. And then the last movie is actually another Disney Plus movie. I didn't include any Apple TV movies on this list because honestly I didn't really watch many Apple TV movies this year. They didn't come out with that many. So the last movie is coming from Disney Plus, and it is Free Guy. So I actually saw this one in theater, and then it came out just a few weeks later on Prime, so that was really annoying because I wasted my money. I could have just waited a few weeks. But it is such a good movie. It's with Ryan Reynolds, and it follows this fictional world where he's this character in a game, but he becomes cognizant of the fact that he's in a game. So he becomes, instead of just a computer game character, he becomes a real character with his own feelings and thoughts and does things independently of what the game coding tells him to do. So it's a really interesting idea how it goes from real life to life inside the game back to real life and following that entire storyline. So if you like shows that have that real world aspect while also having a fictional aspect, this is a really good movie for that, and it was well liked by everybody that I saw it with at the theater, and my parents watched it at home on Prime and they loved it. So definitely check this one out if you're just looking for an all-around good movie. I think this one really works for everybody, no matter what your favorite genre is. So that's it. Those were the 5 shows and movies that I loved from this entire year, 2021. I cannot wait to see what new shows and movies come out in 2022 because this year was so good. I can only imagine 2022 is going to be way better. But yeah, I hope you found something that you're going to check out, and if you did, make sure to comment down below which show or movie you're going to check out. I would love to hear, and I'm going to be trying to do more videos like these in the new year, so it might not be every month, it might be every other month, but I am still going to provide you guys with show and movie recommendations, so don't worry, this isn't the last. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more movie and show recommendations. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.